Today's class, sorry, a bit unorganized today, so usually let you guys know a bit before, but a strap. So go and grab a strap or a dog leash or a lawn scarf, anything that you can open your hands about yay wide, okay? So I'll just give you a moment for people to get that. And in the meantime, for those of you who already have your strap ready, we're just going to anchor the feet down. So the feet underneath the hips and about hip width distance apart. Bring a hand to the heart, even one to the belly if you want. Begin by noticing that heartbeat probably racing a little bit now that we did some movement. So taking the weight of your pelvis and your belly, remember, and putting it back. So if we have a tendency to hang out a little bit in the front, just put the pelvis back. Look down, you should be able to see your toes. Take a breath in. Notice if your heart, you notice that your heartbeat is starting to slow down. I'm going to tuck the chin a little tiny bit to elongate the neck in the back. I'm going to release my arms and roll the other shoulder back and let the shoulders come down by your sides. And taking a breath, noticing how you feel this morning. Tucking the chin a little. And breath in. So you should feel that your bones are nicely stacked here, so that if somebody was going to push down on your shoulders from behind, you feel like you're solid and wouldn't move. And notice how that feels. Relax any places of tension. So between the eyes or the jaw, the shoulders, especially around the belly. We tend to hold and grip our belly a lot, so let that out. Elongate the breath. So you may notice that you may breathe a little shallow, more from the chest, but I want you to take the next couple breaths from the belly. The breath rises and the ribs expand, the rib cage expands. And then let those breaths out through your mouth if that's more comfortable for you this morning to begin. And just notice how the belly sinks back towards the spine. One more breath here. And release. Now we're going to take that strap and we're going to hold it. Sorry, I'm just noticing that my music is still playing. Okay, so we're going to take this strap and we're going to hold it wide. So my knuckles are facing forward. We're still standing, so if you want to sit, you can sit or sit on a chair as well for this. But I'm going to stand. My feet are hip width distance apart. I'm going to roll my shoulders back. So the sense that your shoulder blades are laying flat against your ribs, okay? Or your spine, your back. So now we're going to take this strap and we're just going to, keeping the ribs down, we're just going to bring the strap overhead and come down. So what you want to watch for here is that you are not bringing the ribs along with you, okay? So I can bring the strap up and let my ribs come and then arch and bring the strap all the way back. But we don't want to do that. We're working with mobility in the arms today, opening up the chest again, still doing a lot of shoulder work. And I'm gonna walk you in through a downward dog kind of prep. So my arms are really wide. I'm not bending the elbows here, and I'm gonna bring the strap now all the way around. So you may need to open your hands a little wider on your strap if you need to, no problem. So the idea is I'm just getting that nice mobility in through the shoulders. Now we're going to come in a little closer. So come in a little closer and you're just gonna raise the arms as far as they'll go without the ribs coming with it, okay? So without the arch of the back and the ribs extending out, okay? So coming down. Come up. So this is where I can bring my arms all the way back with the help of my ribs. I'm raising my shoulders to my ears, but that's not what we want to do. So come up again, raise, and come down. And now you're going to take your strap and bring it to shoulder width, boot shoulder width distance, maybe a little bit higher than that. Or higher, closer. So we're just going to raise and knuckles it forward, and you're just going to raise the arms again as far as you could raise them without the ribs coming. So I have a really wonky shoulder on the left. And so this is as far as that I could go without compensating, okay? And you may be similar, you may be higher, you may be here, that is okay. We just want to work in the range of motion that you have, okay? We're not trying to stretch beyond that. Take a breath, come down. Take another breath here. Let's check in. Are we starting to tense anywhere? I don't want you gripping the strap really hard with your hands. Try to release any tension maybe in the jaw or around the chest. And again, we're just going to keep the arms about shoulder width distance apart. And again, we're going to raise the arms. So you can see how this comes into our downward dogs, right? Because a lot of time in downward dog, if you can imagine I'm in downward dog, a lot of people are doing this in downward dog, okay? So we want to keep the ribs in and we want that movement to just be in the shoulders. So one more time, raise, hold now, hold. Check in with the shoulders and the shoulder blades. Just envision what's going on there right now. Envision that movement. The scapula, the glenohumeral joint in your arm bone in the shoulder socket, and come down. Now we're going to open a little wider again, not all the way, but just comfortable distance, I would say. Take a breath, take an inhale here. Exhale, raise the arms up. And this time I'm just going to pull one back. So it's like, I'm not moving a ton in, like I am moving in the ribs a little bit, but it's mostly that I'm pulling back with the right arm and kind of pulling in a diagonal. And take a breath and come forward and come down. Take an inhale, exhale. Inhale, we're going to go up again. Exhale, stretch now to the other side. So it's just like I'm pulling back with my left arm, keeping my elbows straight. And just this nice side stretch. And exhale and come down. And give that a little bit of a shake. Sorry, I'm looking at my notes. I got kind of, okay. Still holding onto your strap. You can just hold it in one arm for now if you want, but we're just going to do some shoulder rolls. So just rolling the shoulders up towards the ears and really paying attention to the shoulder blades coming together in the back and moving down. So again, we're just coming up, pushing the shoulder blades together, pulling the shoulder blades together in the back, and then moving the shoulder blades down the back. Okay, we'll do that a couple more times. So lift, squeeze the shoulder blades together. Don't squeeze anywhere else, your face or your jaw. Don't tense the belly here. Up again. Squeeze the shoulder blades together. Move the shoulder blades now. See if you can feel the shoulder blades actually moving down your back. And then we're going to go in the other direction. So we're going to squeeze the shoulder blades together first, and we're going to try to lift and move the shoulders around and down. And we'll do that one more time. We're going to squeeze the shoulder blades together first and come up and then come down and lift the shoulder blades now. Or sorry, the shoulders to the ears, the blades are coming with it, of course, and drop down. We'll do that one more time. Breath in. And let them just drop and exhale. Okay, taking the strap now, we're going to take the strap behind, and I'm just going to walk up a little closer so you see my hands. So we're taking the strap behind, but we're going to have our hands like so. So the strap, I'm pulling, I have behind, and then so I'm letting the arms just fall down to my sides. And then I'm going to turn this palm inside out. So I'll just show you that again. So I'm just taking it and I'm doing this and doing it. You can do 2 at a time or 1 at a time. So it's really just pulling the shoulder blades together in the back. And you're going to just stay here and hold this and take a few breaths. So come back to your nice, strong standing posture. Take a breath. You may want to even try coming a little closer. If you're not really feeling a stretch there, come a little closer with your hands on the strap and try it again. And we're just going to stay here, opening the chest, opening the shoulders. Just breathe. Notice what is happening in the body. Breathe out any tension. And one more breath. And release. Oh, okay, so just notice how your shoulders are feeling. And let the arms drop by your sides. And now we're going to go into just some internal and external rotation of the arms, okay? So internal, it may look like I'm just moving my hands here, and you can do internal and external rotation like this, but I really want to feel the rotation coming in the shoulder. So I'm just going to put my hand on my shoulder, and I'm really going to try to initiate that internal and external rotation through the shoulder. I have a habit of moving my hand. So my shoulder just externally rotated. So my hand is right here. Oh, and I rotate a bit, but it's not rotating as much as I'm rotating my arm, my hand, but I'm trying to initiate the movement here in my shoulder. And then I get it so far. And then I notice when I keep moving with the hand, I'm still getting a little bit of external more rotation in the shoulder. So you can try that. I'm doing one shoulder at a time just to get that sense and feeling in the shoulder, okay? So getting some beautiful mobility in the shoulder joint. And I'm holding open now. So I'm in the external rotation and I'm holding that shoulder open or rotate it. And then come back and shake that out. Let the 2 arms hang. Notice how that arm now feels in comparison to the other. Take a breath here. Come back to your beautiful alignment. And then again, so I'm going to roll the shoulder back first, nice and flat on my back. And then I'm going to start the external and internal rotation. And notice how that feels. If you're not getting any rotation in the shoulder, well, that is just something, or this may be just like a really awkward movement for you, but just stick with it. So I'm really initiating that movement in the shoulder. And now I'll just turn the hand a little bit more. And I'm just holding here. Stay with the breath. Don't clench the belly while you're breathing, okay? Just still try to move in ease, like I always say. Okay, a couple more internal. I'm gonna just stay here for a sec. Breathe, and external, internal. Oh. And shake that out. So now I'm going to go over kind of where we want our shoulders when we're on our hands and knees, or when we're especially in downward dog. So we need very stable shoulders to hold the load of our body when we're in downward dog, and even the load when we're on our hands and knees, okay? So a lot of times we can really hang out in the joints or not have feel like a lot of stability around the shoulders. So what I want you to do is put your arms out straight like this, and then I want you to just bend the elbows and notice how the hands want to turn in, right? So let our hands turn in. And now you should feel some contraction in the back, like your shoulder blades coming together. Even right here, you might feel like there's a hollowness in your armpits, and that's what we want. And now I just want you to kind of do this wrapping where we're just going to open our hands back to as though we were on our hands and knees now. And so what you feel now, sorry, I have somebody coming in. Oh, missed her. I'm trying to admit everyone will come in. So again, bring the arms up. Hands are sorry. Monica. So sorry. You're in now. That's okay. So we're standing up. We're doing some prep for a downward dog. Not saying we're all going to go into downward dog today, but some prep to prep our shoulders and even our hips for coming into these poses. So we're talking about the stability in the shoulders. So reach the hands forward. So this is a little bit of an educational session today as well, I guess. And so hands are forward, and we're going to bend the elbows and out to the side. So bending the elbows, and you're going to notice that the hands come in. So you're just going to let the hands come in. You have that contraction in the back, and now you're going to open the arms up. So that feeling, that stability that you feel in your shoulders right now, and I can put my arms out, that's the feeling you want to have when you're going into a downward dog, or when you're on your hands, when you have any load on your shoulders, okay? And you can feel the difference if you just drop that now and you just imagine that your arms are out straight and you're going into a downward dog. You'll notice that there's a little difference doing it that way. Okay, so we're gonna come down. Actually, you can do this seated. So we are gonna come down on our hands and knees, but if you know that your knees or your wrists or your shoulders can't handle that this morning, you can sit on a chair, or it's just have a seat, or you can do this standing as well, and I will show you that. So I'm gonna have something under my knees here. We're coming down on hands and knees. Well, first, actually, let's just sit up first. So we're gonna do that motion down on the ground. So I want you to extend your arms. Actually, we won't do that. I'm gonna show you the difference. I want you to just come down on your hands and knees, and we're gonna go right into a rhomboid push-up. So a rhomboid push-up, and for those of you who are not gonna do it on your hands and knees, you're basically starting with the shoulder blades flat on your back, and then you can have your arms out like this. And we've done this one before where we're just squeezing the shoulder blades together and then apart. So it's a very small movement, but very necessary to strengthen the upper back, and so that our blades, our shoulders, really great for rounded shoulders, so that our shoulders it's just strengthening the back to open up our shoulders. Okay, so we're gonna come down on our hands and knees, hands underneath the shoulders and knees underneath the hips. So every time I come down on hands and knees, I like to begin by just doing a little wiggle. And let's breathe. And I'm going to just come into some nice circles. There's no wrong way, right way to do this. You just want to move. And it should feel really nice. Stay with the breath. Okay, so whether you're sitting or on your hands and knees, we can begin with this. So my hands are nice and wide on the mat. My knees hip width distance apart. I'm going to really feel the shoulder blades on my back. I also don't want to tuck down, so I want my ribs to stay in. So just take a moment, ribs flat. Shoulder blades are against my back. Tuck the chin a little. And now we're going to begin with pushing it to the mat and the shoulder blades come wide, and then letting the shoulder blades come together. So I'm not coming down and with my elbows bent. I got my elbows pretty straight. And I just want you to come in now to some rhomboid push-ups. So move with your breath. Inhale. Let the shoulder blades come together. Exhale, push the shoulder blades apart. Move with your own breath. Really nice and slow. Again, you could be seated doing the same movement, okay? You're just not adding that extra load. Stay with the breath. Don't tense in the belly or anywhere else. Always take a rest if you need it. If there's any pain or discomfort, this movement is not for you today. Again, I'm going to do a couple more here. Strengthening the upper back. And now come down into child's pose or come up onto your knees for a rest. So if you are in child's pose and the floor, so I like to do child's pose with the legs wide to each mat, toes together, and then sit back on the heels. And I like to come down on my forearms. And then if you want, you come down all the way down. And I like to, if you are rounding on the top of your back when you come down, please put something underneath your head. So if the floor doesn't come comfortably to you, you don't come comfortably to the floor, bring the floor up to you, okay? Very important. So I would do this. So have one last breath in your child's pose here. So take one big breath through the nose, hold it out through the mouth. And again, we're going to come down onto hands and knees. And this time I want you to have your hands wide. So take your hands to each side of the mat. Still spread the fingers wide. You're pushing out of the mat, but don't walk out your elbows. There's a little tiny give in your elbows. And again, the knees are underneath your hips. Get that feeling like your shoulder blades are on your back. Tuck the ribs in so you're not arching in the lower back. So straighten that out. And now again, we're going to go into that rhomboid push-up. So we're going to let the shoulder blades come together and push apart. Breathe. Don't forget to tuck the chin a little bit. Feel the neck nice and long. Don't have to be perfect. Now try to relax everywhere else. As soon as we start doing some work, we tend to tense in a lot of other areas, especially right now. You want a nice fluid breath, okay? So move with the breath. See if you can do 3 more very slow push-ups here. Be careful you're not collapsing in the back. And now I'm going to bring my toes together. You can go down into your child's pose if you want. I have a sore toe on this side, so I'm just going to come and sit down on my heels. I'm going to roll the shoulders back and down a couple of times, and then come back to my breath. Okay. So now we're going to do that wrapping sensation. So maybe we'll get our arms in position before, so we'll try it anyway. So we're going to bring our arms forward and then bend in the elbows. The hands kind of fingers come towards each other. Now we're going to wrap and open those arms up. Feel that stability in your shoulders, and then come down trying to maintain that feeling. So we can try it now then just on the floor. So just imagine that, so we can be down here, bend the elbows, kind of feel like your fingers are coming together, but they're not, okay? And then that wrapping feeling and arm straight. So that may have worked for you, may not, don't worry about it. And now we're gonna go into the round boy push-up like this, okay? So making sure you're not arching the back. Now I'm pushing, and you may notice that, oh wow, there's not as much room to move, and it may be a little more harder, and you just may notice that you're working probably a different little part of the musculature in the back. So stay with the breath. Just because it's hard doesn't mean that we can't move in ease. We don't have to tense up anywhere else in our body. Very small movement. I'm getting even less movement here when I have this kind of external rotation going on, okay? Pushing out, pushing together. And this feeling is going to be different for everybody. I have some wing shoulder scapula going on and some shoulder issues on my left. So this feels much different for me on the right side than on the left side. Okay, your last one here. Come down into your child's pose if you want, or just come to sit up. And then come back to your breath and notice that space or that area of your upper back. Notice, just notice how that feels, and then you may even feel nice and open in the chest now. So if you are in child's pose, take one big breath there. Oh, let the belly expand, let the rib cage expand on that inhale. Exhale and come up. Okay, we're just gonna come into a reverse prayer now. So you're gonna take the backs of your palms, backs of your hands, and you're gonna put them together. And you're even gonna try to start like at the wrists, and then press the backs of the hands together, and even spreading the thumbs out to the side to touch one another. Try to line up the fingernails here. And what you're going to do is you're going to move the hands now down the front of your body, but only as far as you can go without the wrists coming, or the hands coming apart, okay? So just moving down and down. And when you get to as far as you can go, just gonna hold that here. Don't be tensing the face. Relax the rest of your body. Shouldn't be uncomfortable. So just taking some breaths here. And release that and give your arms a little shake. Come into a seated position now. So I'm just up on my knees right now. You can stay like that. You can come cross-legged, and just come and sit back onto your heels. We're just gonna do a few little wrist mobility exercises. So what I'm doing is I'm just going to flex my wrist back and down. So down, up, and down. Don't clench the fists, okay? Just a light fists. So we're just coming up and down, really focusing the movement from the wrist. So you don't have to tense in the shoulders. You don't have to tense in the belly. Just send all the energy to your wrists. And now I'm just going to move from side to side, okay? So I'm just moving my wrists like so, side to side, not clenching, side to side. And now let's move them around in circles. So little circles, nice and slow. And now circles in the opposite direction. And shake that out. Okay, so I am going to come down. We are going to come down on hands and knees again. I'm hoping that this is not too much for people's knees today. So if it is, remember that trick where we can put something higher under our knees and then just put our weight into our shins instead of in the knees, okay? I think everybody knows that. That's in this class, at least live. Okay, so coming back into our hands and knees, give a little wiggle, a little shake, like you're weighing your tail back and forth. So again, hands underneath, and you see if you can get that wrapping feeling now. Sometimes I just imagine that the fingers are turning in like we did before, like you can bend in the elbows and then wrapping the shoulder blades flat down against your back. You might feel this hollowness now in your armpits, okay? And what we're gonna do is the knees are underneath the pelvis. Tuck that lower back, or don't compress the lower back. Bring the ribs in, flatten that lower back. Natural arch, but you know what I mean. So I'm gonna tuck my toes, and then I'm just gonna hover my knees. Now, don't worry if your knees don't come off the floor, okay? You're still pushing away. Hold and come down. Take a breath. Exhale, lift the knees. Breathe. And come down. Take a little rest. Child's pose, or just come up to sit onto your heels. Inhale through the mouth, or inhale through the nose, exhale through the mouth. Oh, this morning, this got off on a shady start. It's still a bit shady. Okay, so let's do that again. And so I'm trying to get that wrapping feeling, pushing out of the floor. Knees are hip width distance apart. And I just want you to notice, we're going to hover the knees one more time. And I just want you to really notice, notice where your weight goes. So I want my weight still, so my weight now, I have my toes, my knees, my hands at 6 points, holding this weight of the load. So now I'm going to go to 4 points. I'm going to lift the knees, but I don't want to lift the knees and everything wobble and shake. It may, just notice, it's okay, but you're trying to lift without, and you're trying to keep the weight evenly distributed in your hands and your toes. Lift the knees, don't stress anywhere else, in the face. And then relax and come down, go into that nice child's pose. And come up. And we're just going to do a little bit more of that coming back and forth, okay? So we're on our hands and knees. We're bringing our hips back keeping the spine and everything where it is. Trying to keep the rest of your body where it is and just noticing the mobility in the shoulders. So when you're coming into downward dog, right? You're coming into this motion. Notice the range of motion I have. I can collapse and come all the way down and bring my head down and my ears will be on my arms now. I can do that, but it's just not great. It's not moving with integrity. So coming back, it's not a functional movement. It's like it's bearing weight in the wrong places, hanging out in the joints. So I want you to really focus on keeping the back nice and straight, mobility in the arms. So we're just sitting back as though we're going to come into like a child's pose, but not, and we're just going to stay and stretch the arms. So pulling the bum back, nice stretch in the back, and coming up again. And we'll just do that one more time. And then come up and give it a shake from side to side. Okay, so let's come back again, sit down on our heels, and we're just going to go into a couple nice neck rolls. A lot of times we're doing these poses and we tense around the face and the neck. So we're just going to do a couple of neck rolls to begin. So again, just pretend that there's this clock in front of your nose and your nose is going around all the numbers in the clock. So we don't want to arch back. So the clock is in front of our face. And let's trace those numbers with the nose. Breath in and breath out. Nice and slow. And while you're here, you can just make sure you roll the shoulders back and down. So move with the breath. And go in the opposite direction. And then come forward. We'll look to the left. Tuck the chin a little. And come up. Look to the right. Take a breath. Come up. And we're going to bring the left ear down to the left arm. You may need to pins. Just have the face, the chin tucked before you start. And just bring the left ear down to the left shoulder. Extend the right arm, palm facing up. Bring the arm down towards the floor a little bit. No pain. Inhale, exhale, come up. Move to the other side. Take a breath. Exhale, right ear down to the right shoulder. Oh, extend the left arm, palm facing up. Take some breaths. Exhale. And let's do a couple twists here as well. So just twisting through the thoracic spine, remember? So I'm just going to twist. Keep the head straight. So we often feel like we're doing a much bigger stress when we're stretch or twist, sorry, when we're reaching the head back. But let's just get the ribs doing all the movement here. And let's hold. And breathe, hold. Notice if you're starting to tense around the belly and stuff. Let all the abdominal muscles, especially the obliques here, hold you here. And take one more breath here. And exhale, release. Take a breath here, inhale. Exhale, twist to the other side. Keep the head where it is. And let the obliques hold you here, but release. Release anything that you feel like you're just holding or tensing upwards. Shouldn't be going around all the time, and we often do, especially walking, feeling that we are holding energy up. So like holding in, we should be really feeling energy kind of go down or move down is how I like to think of it. So when I'm even walking, you want to walk without clenching anything. You want the muscles to respond to the movement, okay? So just reminding or checking into all those places, or discovering for the first time perhaps those places that, wow, you hold a lot of tension that you didn't even realize. So for me, it's around the belly. So I'm really working on that. So just taking a second here to breathe. So we're going to come onto hands and knees again. For those of you who are having, don't want to come on hands and knees, I'll try to think of something else you could do right now. We are going to be coming into kind of a plank. You don't have to come into a full plank. You could do it on your knees as well. But this is all prep for going into a downward dog, okay? So we want to have really strong shoulders to be going into a downward dog. We could really cause some strain and stress on the shoulders. Oh, okay, I'm going to use this. Okay, so I'm trying to think of a way we could possibly do this against a wall too. But for those of you who want to join me down here on the floor, we'll do that first. Hands underneath the shoulders, again, nice wide fingers, and knees are underneath the hips. And now what we're going to do, so we did the hovering. I'm going to do that wrapping in my shoulders so I feel nice and stable. I'm going to move back a little bit so I'm in front of the camera. So I'm really doing that wrap. So we can try it together. Space your hands, bend the elbows, and like envision that your hands are kind of coming forward, and then do this wrapping around. And I'm hoping that this means something to somebody that you're getting it. But if not, like I said, don't worry too much about it. Even sometimes people feel like they're just doing that external rotation in their shoulders again, and you may just get that. So what we did at the beginning of class. So now what I'm going to do is, instead of hovering, I'm just going to try to put one leg back without moving much in the rest of the body, okay? So that's the idea, is that I want my weight evenly distributed, and now you got one knee back. You may just want to stay here, okay? And alternate legs back and forth. Now remember, let the abdominal muscles, and see what happens, do the work without you trying to clench, okay? So you can either move back and forth to one leg to the other, or you could try to come up onto two legs and hold, or you could just hold yourself here down on your knees. Is a lot of work, especially in the shoulders and the abs. So I don't want you clenching the abs. Let the abs do the work, or see what happens. Because so we'll start by putting one leg back again, and I want to do this without much movement in the rest of my body, okay? I don't want to be putting one foot back and my weight going too much over to one side. So that's just tiring enough. So come back, take a rest, come back to your breath, and you can kind of see where this is going now. So once you're able to hold yourself in a plank with stable shoulders and without collapsing in the shoulders, then moving on to downward dog is next. So let's do that again. We're just going to move. So we're getting our shoulders nice and ready and stable. I'm going to put one foot back and then the other. And then if you want to go into downward dog from here, you're just pushing, and this is going to be a long downward dog. So I would probably do my downward dog a little closer, my feet a little closer to my hands, but I want everybody to do it nice and long. So don't worry if you're not ready to go into downward dog. Please just keep practicing holding yourself on one, like bringing in plank basically, and you can do one leg at a time. So play around with that. If you want to come into a downward dog, I actually like having my hands a little up over in front of my shoulders, maybe half an inch when I'm doing a downward dog. And I have my hands underneath my shoulders, but you may prefer having your hands a little wider, and that's okay too. And maybe your legs a little tiny bit wider, and that's okay. So I like to come in from a plank. So again, we'll come in 1 foot, okay, and then the other so that you're in a plank. And now I'm gonna reach my bum up and back. And now at the same time, I'm keeping that stability in my shoulders. So if I didn't do that, I would be way out here. So I can do a downward dog and I can have my head and it looks like, oh, look at that downward dog. It looks so awesome, maybe, I don't know. But that, just because you have the capacity to go somewhere, it doesn't mean that you're doing it functionally or in a healthy way that's good for your joints and your muscles. Okay, so we're kind of coming back now, taking a rest, and we're gonna go into downward dog again. If your wrists are really, really hurting, maybe that's enough for you. You know, you can roll your mat, you can come down on your forearms, but that's a little harder in downward dog. You can still try it though. But anyway, we're just going to do it one more time. And so when you're coming into the downward dog, you want to maintain that stability you feel in your shoulders. You also want to keep the ribs tucked in. You don't want to be arching that back. That gives that feeling like you're coming right through your arms, and yeah, we don't want that. So for those of you who want to try it again, let's come down, or you can just come back to the knee, or if this is too much for you, but you do want to have just that nice feeling of downward dog, that nice stretch, you can do it on the back of a chair, on a wall. You can still practice getting those shoulders ready and then moving back. And if you're doing it against a wall, I would have like, so you still want to get your ribs in, you're pushing your legs, your bum back. Your ears are probably alongside of your arms. I could come all the way here, see, but I don't. You want to keep the ribs in. I'm just walking back. I'm feeling the mobility moving. I'm feeling now my arms going up to where it's comfortable for me, which is here. And I'm going to have a bend in my knees, and my feet are underneath my knees here. And I'm going to stretch back. And if I want, I can just stretch the knees back a little tiny bit. So that's standing. So for seated, you may have already done it already, or I mean, for on the floor, you may have done a downward dog already. I am going to do it one more time, and you can do it with me, or you can just go into child's pose if you've already had enough. Yeah, because the rest of the class is going to be on the back, so you can just get ready, or you can follow along with me. Hands underneath. A little shake and a shimmy at the hips. I'm going to do the wrapping. I want my belly to, don't want any arch in my back. I'm going to go into a plank now. And without my back body changing, I'm just going to tilt. So moving in my hips, so all the movement, hips, ankles, and shoulders, right? And come back. Whew. It's a lot harder. We're not trying to get the heels down to the floor, okay? Bend the knees. You don't have to have your legs out straight. Actually bend the knees. It'll straighten out the back a little more. And then we don't want all of our weight coming into our hands. So that also helps when we bend the knees. You won't feel like so much weight moved into your hands. So you can hold it here. And send your gaze like between your knees and relax your head. So your head shouldn't be up. You should not have any stress in your neck whatsoever. Just let the neck hang. And then come down, come into your child's pose. Relax. Notice how that felt for you. Your heartbeat maybe going a little quicker, faster. And take some nice calming breaths here. You did a lot of great work in the shoulders. And learning how to go into a proper downward dog. When I say proper, I guess it's not proper, but I guess a healthier version of downward dog. Okay, so everybody can come down onto your backs now. Okay, so you can have something under your head if you feel a strain on your neck when you're laying down on your back. So that feeling like your neck is, your chin is reaching up to the ceiling. Put something underneath your head. So I like to just come down on my elbows and then just come all the way down. So I want to feel that my ribs are touching the floor. My shoulder blades, I like to kind of roll them under. So now we're going to do one more shoulder strengthening, and then we're just going to relax, okay? So we're going to bring our arms out like, so when we're laying down, we're like this. So I like to call it cactus arms, but our fists are going to be up towards the ceiling, okay? So there should be a little bit of an arch in your lower back, just a natural arch, your lower back, ribs all touching, back of your ribs touching, your back ribs, and putting the arms in cactus down. Just make loose fists, and all I want you to do is really think you're going to push down into the floor with the backs of your arms, and you're going to think about really that space all between the shoulder blades, so like you're squeezing and strengthening the upper back, and then release. So knees are bent. Again, just press, 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 press down, press really, really, really hard. Don't press everywhere else, because you might want to press in your feet. You might want to press around your belly and your jaw and everywhere else, but just press down the back of your arms and release. Take a breath. And now we're going to do it again. So take a breath. Exhale, press. Keep breathing. See if you can, easy breath. Bring all the energy. Feel that space. It's more about the exercise in the back than it is the arms, okay? So you really feel that space between your shoulder blades, your upper back. Press, 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 press. And release. Take a moment. And we're going to do it one more time. So take a breath. Exhale, press. Keep breathing. Lots of work. Breathe, breathe, breathe. Press, press, press. Don't press anywhere else. Your belly, your back, your legs. Let all of that tension go and just put all the energy between your shoulder blades and your upper back. Press, 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 press. Oh, and now release. Let your legs stretch out. Point the heels. Bring the arms above your head if you want. Yeah, so we're ready for Shavasana. If you want any movement before we move into that, please go ahead. I'm going to just hold my shoulders. So I'm just going to cross my arms and hold my shoulders and maybe just get a roll on my shoulders. So roll from one side onto the other.
You want to go right now?
And then one side.
I don't have to do the final.
The other. If you want to do, I'm on one side now. I'm going to open that top leg and let the leg fall and bring the other leg with it. And just come over into the shoulder, and then I'm going to open this top leg wide. Just going to pull the other leg over. Okay. If you want to extend the arms, bring the knees up and hold the knees and just do little circles on the sacrum, the lower back. And now let's come right into Shavasana. So if you're laying down, you can stay there. You can get more comfortable if you like with a blanket or a pillow or whatever it is you need. We'll do a quick Shavasana and I will just end the video there. I don't think I'm going to turn on the music today. I'm not sure. I will just see how it goes. See if I get any comments from anybody if they would prefer the music or not. So today I'm just not going to do the Shavasana music. So laying there, getting nice and cozy. Take some breaths in through the nose. Breath out through the mouth. Letting your whole body now release, relax. Oh, give that tension away. Just exhale it out. So every exhale, just notice the places of tension that are still holding on that you want to release. So some common areas are the space between the eyes, the jaw. So if you want to put a little space between your back teeth, and take the tongue from the roof of the mouth, the shoulders, and especially around our midsection, the belly and the hips, the bum. We hold a lot of tension there, especially women, that holding in the belly sensation all the time. So let the belly release and relax. Allow the whole back body to just sink into the earth. So from the top of the head, your head feels relaxed. Your head feels heavy and supported by the floor, by the mat. Your jaw is released. The ears are relaxed, the skin on the face. Staying with the breath, breathe with ease. Let full breaths come in and move up to the rib cage. Feeling the lungs expand. Causing the rib cage to expand, making room for the lungs. Your arms are heavy, starting with the shoulders. Relaxing feeling moving down the arms into the elbows and the forearms. The hands and the fingers. Giving your body this attention this morning. Reminding it how to relax. And let that feeling move down the back body. The chest feeling open, the heart is open. And let the belly release. Notice how the belly rises and falls with each breath. Letting that whole midsection release. Your hips and your pelvis. Moving down into the legs, your knees, your shins and your calves, your ankles, your heels, your feet, your toes. And check in again. Has any tension crept back into those places? Let it release. Notice what's happening with the breath. Connecting to your heart. And keeping the eyes closed. You can say these words after me and to yourself if you please. Just for today, I will be grateful. Just for today, I will not worry. Just for today, I will not be angry. Just for today, I will do my work honestly. And just for today, I will be kind to every living thing. And this includes yourself. I am so honored to share this morning with you in all of these classes. I'm super stoked about it all. I love you guys. I love that you're doing this for yourselves and that you're joining me, that you're committed like this. So please give yourself a pat on the back. Stay here for as long as you need to this morning. I hope you enjoyed it, and yeah, have a